Levy's takeover of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. When Brigham and Women's and Mass General Hospital merged to create Partners Healthcare System, leaders at Beth Israel became concerned that they would lose a significant market share to the new conglomerate. This led them to pursue a partnership with Deaconess Hospital, which also incorporated smaller Boston area hospitals. While these mergers had their advantages, they were dependent on a feeder system of physicians and primary care providers to refer patients and drive business towards the hospital. During the merger of Beth Israel and Deaconess, it was clear to Paul Levy that the leadership of Care Group and Beth Israel had made some serious errors. First, the major focus of the merger was the integration of the clinical departments. Beth Israel, which was primarily a teaching and research hospital with a focus on excellent patient care, had merged with Deaconess, whose expertise lay in the business aspects of healthcare and specialized treatments. These two large hospitals had very different organizational environments. Without considering the culture clashes that would occur, management combined redundant departments. This led to the departure of top surgical and clinical experts. If, as Levy points out, Care Group managers had more foresight, the merger could have been managed more like Partners, which instead focused on combining its administrative departments, leaving each hospital to continue in its area of expertise. Beth Israel Deaconess also failed to properly integrate their administrative levels, leaving a convoluted chain of command that prevented significant reforms and turnaround plans from being implemented in the future. The chief issue was the installment of Beth Israel administrators in key positions without giving the same courtesy to Deaconess leaders. This fueled the resentment that began with the merging of the clinical departments. If the reason for creating a new system was to remain competitive with Partners Healthcare, then leaders at Beth Israel Deaconess should have focused on streamlining their administrative and business staff to better control their presence in the highly competitive marketplace that is Boston healthcare. This would have no doubt resulted in a better feeder system, another detriment for the new Care Group. The Care Group system was created with a shared debt pool among the partners. While focusing on competing with Partners Healthcare, leaders of the merger neglected to consider the debt outstanding of the two largest hospitals, Beth Israel and Deaconess. The smaller, more efficiently run partner hospitals in the Care Group system were saddled with this outstanding debt, which was perpetuated by the lack of a feeder system and compounded by the reduction in Medicare and Medicaid payments in the late 1990s. This, plus the poorly managed business aspects of the hospital, put Beth Israel Deaconess in a bad negotiating position with insurance companies. After taking deals under cost, the hospital would actually lose money every time it brought in a new patient. Beth Israel Deaconess had contracted at least 6 consulting groups to help craft turnaround plans by the time Paul Levy became involved with the hospital, yet none of these plans had been successfully seen through. They had simply been designed, but not implemented beyond management. After Levy's initial interaction with Beth Israel Deaconess leadership, he was confident they had these things under control. As he put it, quote, "These folks have it together." However, after some time, it was clear that no part of the plan had been carried through. Managers blamed an unreceptive staff. Although it is not the responsibility of the staff to ensure that a turnaround plan is correctly implemented and adhered to, that falls squarely on the managers. Levy also points out that the board of directors for both BID and Care Group was aware that the goals of the turnaround plan were not being implemented and did not hold management responsible. The last major turnaround plan leaked and led to much controversy. Levy had major critiques of this plan, and from these we can learn lessons about what not to do. The Beth Israel Deaconess plan called for the hospital to compete directly for staff and patients in the most profitable areas of healthcare in order to get ahead, rather than retaining what they already did best and building on those strengths. Chasing the bottom line had never been a priority for Care Group in the past, and suddenly shifting resources in this manner would result in the loss of competent staff. The plan also called for a major contract with a drug company. Levy is confident that Beth Israel Deaconess would have gotten the short end of the stick, and he has reason to be. The poor management of Beth Israel Deaconess was what created the need for a turnaround plan in the first place. They had failed to successfully negotiate with insurance companies, which led to huge financial losses. After proving they could not handle the business aspects of healthcare well, the hospital would have been better off not trying to secure a deal with a major corporation that was adept at negotiating. Finally, implementing a turnaround plan without clear goals and an outline of how to achieve them means there is no way to demonstrate to the public that you have achieved success. Administrators at Beth Israel Deaconess seemed to believe that they would know success when they saw it, rather than knowing that they had achieved an outline goal, which would also communicate to their staff, superiors, and the public, particularly the competition and the Attorney General, that they were making gains. Paul Levy entered into the CEO search process when he realized that the issues plaguing Beth Israel Deaconess were not medical problems but administrative ones. With a background in making tough decisions to salvage troubled organizations under public scrutiny, Levy decided to go for the job. When he met with Care Group leadership in November of 2001, he expressed his desire to get in charge before a critical consultants report was to be released. The Hunter Group had been hired to develop yet another turnaround plan for Beth Israel Deaconess. Levy knew Hunter had a reputation of being a slash-and-burn consultant, and that the report would call for drastic staff reductions and rigorous milestones. But he also understood enough about the hospital's situation to know that some, if not all, of the Hunter report's recommendations were needed in order to turn the hospital back into a profitable medical center and refocus attention on the aspects of Beth Israel Deaconess that had made it one of the best teaching hospitals in the country with great patient care. Paul Levy accepted the job and started in January 2002, just in time to get ahead of the Hunter report. He also made demands on the Beth Israel Deaconess board. He felt that the board was too involved in the daily operations of the hospital. This created a channel for complaints to circumvent management and go directly to the board. Further removing responsibility from managers was not the answer to turning Beth Israel Deaconess around. Levy knew he had to return managers to a position where they felt compelled to get things done rather than make excuses for why no changes were happening. After accepting the job, Levy also learned that the Attorney General was considering the sale of Beth Israel Deaconess to a for-profit hospital if they had continued to lose money. This meant Levy had a real situation to use as leverage against managers resistant to change. The sale of Beth Israel Deaconess would mean that the hospital would lose its affiliation status with Harvard and cease to be an academic hospital. This would undermine the credibility of doctors on the staff. Levy, realizing this, exposed the threat of sale to the entire staff through a group email. He uses this as a way to rally the staff around a common goal, returning to profitability. He outlines how this is done, knowing that his outline closely mirrors the recommendations called for in the yet-to-be-released Hunter report. The report will give his milestones credence, and the threat of sale provides a common motivation for everyone to pull together. Levy also employs milestones in his strategic plan, based on the coming Hunter report. This, again, allows him to validate the suggestions made by Hunter for achieving the milestones, that is, significant cuts and layoffs. It also demonstrates to others, namely the Attorney General and the Care Group Board who are weighing the sale, that Beth Israel Deaconess management can set goals, formulate a plan to reach those goals, and hold themselves accountable for achieving them. By doing this, Levy draws a distinction between himself and previous leaders of Beth Israel Deaconess. Since the hospital is renowned for its level of care, Levy says this is one area where they cannot sacrifice much. By doing so, he is able to affirm that quality care in an academic environment are top priorities of the hospital, and the means for achieving profitability can be found by keeping these concepts in the forefront. By using these concepts as a rallying point for the entire staff, Levy reaffirms the organizational mission of Beth Israel Deaconess. This is a clear vision of what the hospital is known for and what it should strive towards, both aspects of the turnaround plans that have never materialized for all the staff since management failed to communicate these ideas downward. Above all, Paul Levy is a deft communicator. When speaking to the entire organization, he is open about the challenges facing Beth Israel Deaconess. He does so in order to give the staff an idea of the depth of the problem, much of which had been kept from them in the past. He also uses these challenges as opportunities because they provide a justification for the harsh turnaround measures required. By making no attempt to hide the impending layoffs or belt-tightening measures, Levy quickly builds credibility with the entire staff as an honest leader who lets his staff know what's coming, how he feels about it, and why it is necessary. However, Levy is more candid when speaking with management. He does not hesitate to remind the chiefs who they serve, namely himself and the patients. On numerous occasions, Levy makes it clear that he is disappointed with the other leaders. Most of these come from the manager in question not meeting expectations or delivering on a goal. Levy's method is tough but effective. He holds management accountable for the first time since the merger, asking them to explain budget anomalies in detail by asking managers to tell him what he needs to know rather than asking what he wants to know. He puts the onus on management to have control and understanding of their departments. Finally, Levy makes himself open to the entire staff. He makes the strategic plan available to everyone via the hospital's intranet and asks for comments. He hosts open houses with the nursing staff to get a better understanding of what this important group needs and what challenges they are facing in delivering patient care. He uses what he learns from interacting with the staff of Beth Israel Deaconess to formulate a series of memos outlining what has been achieved and what still needs to get done. By having a two-way stream of communication, Levy presents himself as an accessible leader and ensures a receptive audience. Simply put, people will listen to you better when they feel you are hearing them as well. The major takeaways from Paul Levy's takeover of Beth Israel Deaconess are as follows. 1. When merging complex organizations, it cannot be taken for granted that similar departments will have similar cultures and goals. 2. For managers guiding an organization through a turnaround, there is a need to set clear goals and outline a means to achieve them. 3. A combination of methods may be needed to motivate staff, especially at various levels in the organization. 4. Managers should clearly communicate their expectations to staff, share concerns about progress, and be receptive to staff concerns.